of the Divine Feminine Revolution video podcast. I'm here with one of my favorite mentors, Jessica Riverson, the Priestess CEO. Actually, one of my very first sort of big investments, I think you could say, into the coaching world. So glad I did it with you. And then also was during March 2020 was when we
Oh my
finally like
gosh.
launched the product, if you can imagine. So on the heels of COVID, was my little launch party into the world. And so thank you so much for being a part of that. Jessica, I'm so love everything that you have to say because you're so much into like pleasure, embodiment, helping women make money. And I definitely feel like, we need empaths, we need mothers, we need women entrepreneurs, shaping our politics, shaping our culture, having time to spend with our families, having time for our own pleasure. And so I think you're such a great example of that. And you really have had such a great entrepreneur journey, and then have also fused in all the goddessy priestess training that we love. And so super excited to have this conversation with you. And I think for those of you listening, this is going to be one of those moments that just like wakes you up to your potential of one, charging more, but also living more. So I'm going to turn it over to
Mm,
you. You know how we do a little brag intro. So
okay. Oh gosh.
whatever
Okay.
you want to
Well,
brag about.
I can brag. Thank you so much. Yes, I forgot that it was in 2020, but yes, that was exactly the time frame. And
Mm-hmm.
that was a wild times. And I'm so honored to have worked with you. I love my clients, and you definitely are one
Mm-hmm.
that I've always remembered. And I know we've kind of stayed in touch here and there, but finally we're like together on the podcast. And so this conversation we've been wanting to have for a while. I guess we all, as women, we have so many amazing stories. And I always share with my clients, like, choose the story that's, relevant to, whatever we're talking about today. So I suppose all my stories are relevant to what we're talking about. But I think one thing I could just share in terms of like money, embodiment, and pleasure is just like the changes actually since during that time when you and I were working together, 2020, even though I had been in the coaching industry and had a multiple six-figure coaching business for a long time at that point, 2020 was the year that I became debt free after carrying debt for 20 years. I do have debt again because I went and bought two properties. So that was part of the story. But I mean, at that point I didn't own those properties. And so I was like literally zero debt. And it was
And debt
also
can be good, right? If it's an
what?
investment. And
Yeah,
debt
yeah.
can be
There's
good.
good. Yes, exactly. There's green
But
debt
yes,
and there's
also,
red debt, right?
yeah,
So
snaps to the debt free though,
yeah,
for
it's,
sure.
it's an investment. But so that was the year that there was a lot that happened kind of the year before that year and the year after, just that whole time frame. But I had been a money coach for a long time at that point as well already, but I was still on my own journey, right? Like my money coach teacher back in 2013, so that was a long time ago. She was like, you don't have to be perfect with money. You just have to be on the path, because every single person that was in that certification that year was like, we were all drawn to it because we wanted to repair our relationships with money. And we started like kind of posting in the group, like, can we do this? Like, we kind of suck with money. Like, that's why we're here. And she was like, if you are on the path of healing your relationship with like value and money and even selling, right? Promoting yourself and bragging, right? Like just owning it. She's like, you just have to be on the path. You don't have to be perfect. So I'd been on that path for a long time, but what was happening when I first broke through, what I think is a big thing to break through, is like earning a lot of money or earning more than you ever have before, or like crossing through income barriers or charging more, right? And when I started my business, I trademarked the phrase permission to charge, and that was actually my first like brand. So I'm very passionate about helping women, you know, be able to increase their prices. So that's kind of the first thing, right? As healers and coaches and anyone in the helping profession, is being able to raise your prices. And so I did that after a lot of inner work and a lot of challenge, and then made it my specialty. But then what I found was I wasn't keeping any of the money. So I had, when I think maybe it was before you and I started working together or right around that time, I had like 9 team members, which is great. But I remember just going, I don't have any money to buy a house. I don't have any money to do anything. I mean, not that I didn't have money to do anything, but I was like, what do I have to show for this? And I think
Yeah.
it was also around 2020. I bought my first couch at the age of like 40. That wasn't like a hand-me-down
That's a
couch from
fancy
somebody
couch.
else, or I bought it off Craigslist. So
Yeah.
even though I was making a lot, I put everything into my business.
Yeah.
And we do that, right? Everything into the kids, everything into family, or everything into our business. And that's it. Look, it's not bad to put it all into your business, but I wasn't able to receive, and I was able to receive, but I wasn't able to retain and
Mhm.
hold and expand that wealth. And so I made a lot of changes in that time frame and got really real about my relationship with money, or I guess more real because I'd been working on it, but just kind of took that to the next level. And I ended up changing my whole business model maybe after we worked together a little bit in that
Mhm.
time frame, and went down to just 2 team. I think at one point it was just me and my VA and maybe one other person. So down to 2 team members, and I actually grew my business and was spending less on expenses. And so it's being able to, you know, allow yourself to earn a lot of money. That was also when I started bringing on clients at 75,000 per year, and I'd never done that before, and I started charging $50 an
Damn.
hour. Okay. So now not all my
What a
clients pay
journey.
that. I have programs that are $222 a month, right? Like my membership. But
Your
I
membership is
changed
awesome.
my whole, you know, business model where I ended up having like this range of price points. And also I had a mentor for a couple of years that was around 100K per year. And so I did a lot of things, like really looking at how can it was an energetic thing, right?
Mhm.
Like that I broke through the income glass ceiling, starting to make way more, but then I still wasn't retaining it. And that was so when you and I met, that was the time period where like that, it's like it started to shift. And some
Mhm.
people would say like, well, you got rid of your team members and then, you know, you did this and you did that. But no, but I ended up spending even more and with my mentor. Um, but because the work I did with that person was inner work, I
Mhm.
started to shift the energetics where I was able to actually hold on to that money. And that's how I was like able to buy, you know, properties over $1 million in one year, like boom, boom, boom,
Woo!
and pay off the debt and still have, you know, more money. So yes, women, we've got to be able to understand our value, understand our worth, I mean, not our intrinsic value. We want to understand that, but you can't charge on that, right? So we're
Mhm.
talking about the value you can deliver in the marketplace, and also just what is required to be the woman that you are, right? So I don't know if that was a brag or just kind of like
Well, a
my
couple million
story.
dollar properties,
Yeah,
I
okay, that
definitely
was a
think
brag.
that
Yes,
was a
it was a
brag.
gift.
Not to make it all about money, but, you know, the
But
money is
that's
nice.
just kind of like, yeah, the time that we met, and what was going on
Yeah.
then, and you know, so much has changed, but I'm still talking about the same things. You know, I'm still
Yeah,
passionate about the same things.
absolutely. Well, I definitely think it was great to witness. Like, I feel like when I came on, I could see like some of the more like masculine infrastructure. And I really relate because I'm definitely a divine feminine, but I have a very strong masculine side. And that
Yeah,
masculine
me
side,
too.
the overachiever in me was like kind of grinding it out. And one of the things that I often talk with my clients about is the whole receiving blocks thing, which you totally
Mm,
named. And it's like some of the best things in life we receive, like we receive pleasure, we receive money, we receive compliments, we receive support, we receive positive experiences. You know, like who doesn't want that? And
yeah.
you think like who doesn't want that? But yet we have so many blocks on those things because obviously society does a mind fuck on women too. tell us that we should just be taking care of everybody and not taking care of ourselves, and not focusing on ourselves. And so one of the best things we can do is just, like you said, learn to release some of those receiving blocks so that we can like receive that highest timeline. And it's such an expansive period. And so just to kind of reflect that back to you, like it was, you could see like the more, like it was really helpful for me because I needed some of that like corporate infrastructure and marketing because all of that
Yeah.
was so new to me. But like you also did have the priestess training and the
That's
embodiment, and you
right.
do
That
the
all came through.
hypnosis. Like
Yes.
it was there. Like I could kind of see the before and the after. So I just thought that was kind of unique to
Mm.
be able to see. And I feel like that's the transition I was making in my own life, going from like kind of a burnout therapist to like really wanting to take that wisdom to the world to help like many people rather than just the person sitting in front of me. And I really felt this like call to like waking up to my desire to create content, my desire to like be more than a wife and a mom and a therapist, and more into like opening up to the world. And so I
And
think
you
like
built a
learning to
brand, you
receive
built your
is
brand.
such an edge.
What was
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Well, receiving is just such an edge, and I think even if you do this embodiment kind of feminine work, like, it's still such an edge, because you can always expand in your ability to receive and, like you said, your ability to hold. And that's one thing that kept me in the grind was, like, I was making, 6 figures, good money, but, like, I was spending it, and so there wasn't that, like, security there,
Yeah.
and so learning to, like, not only receive it, to deserve it, to, like, call it in, but then, like, to be able to, like, hold it and then, like, reinvest it out into the world, into your properties, into, like, your family, it's just so huge. So I think it's cool just to see, like, your evolution as well.
Well, thank you. And I think it's just like, I was a single teen mom, I was a college dropout.
Mhm.
I think it's important to just to share, like, I thought my relationship with money would be a challenge forever and ever and ever. And I'm still not perfect with money. Like, I don't even, I'm not aiming for perfection, but I'm
Yeah.
definitely, I know there's people that are like, they're just wired that way, and they're just, but there's different money types that I talk about in some of my money courses. And like someone who is a secure money type, or the security type, I'm not talking about attachments because I know, but we do talk about that too.
Mhm.
But in this case, the secure
Mhm.
money type, they tend to, know every penny and where it's spent. But when it comes to investing really big and taking risks, it's a little bit more like, no. And that actually limits their ability to expand their wealth, right? So on the flip side, my money type is the surprise, surprise, the value type, and so it's all about recognizing your value. Um, and sometimes there's pros and cons to every money type, but in the value money type, there's a little bit more of like the entrepreneurial risk taking and things like that. But I just think like it's so important for women to see like it can change, right? Like you can shift your identity around money. And it's, money is a mirror, and it's mirroring back to us where we're lying to ourselves, where we're not
Mhm.
being honest, where
Mhm.
we're like negotiating our own value with ourselves, we're accepting less. Or sometimes I talk about like the prostitute archetype, where it's like we're trading one value for another value, but it's more on the shadow side, where it's like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm accepting less than I deserve,
Yeah.
but I'm getting something else out of it. Like maybe that makes me feel safer, or maybe that's, I don't have to be the squeaky wheel. I can just kind of like accept what I'm being paid, and not make a fuss about it, not ask for more, because then, what does that say about me? Oh, I'm too much. And who does she think she
Mhm.
is? And so we have all this programming going on.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the best things you did right away was to tell me to like double my prices. And so that I think definitely if you're a woman out there listening who wants to make more money and you already have a business, like, obviously you have to like, vibe
You
with
have to
that
like be
to
aligned with it. Yeah, you've got to
embody
have the
it.
alignment. But yes, most women entrepreneurs, and I'll throw myself in there too, because I do feel that we always need to reevaluate, up our pricing.
Mhm.
that's what every business does every year. So for the most, I mean, for the most part, most businesses will have price increases on a regular basis.
Yeah, and I think money's so subjective. So someone might say like, "Oh, that's super expensive," and someone would be
Mhm.
like, "Oh, you're undercharging." And so I think it's just kind of like, you know, not so much other focus, but like kind of what feels good to you. But I
Yeah,
think in general, like
absolutely.
that's such a great first step. And like that really, in my case, like freed up time. It allowed me to become a content creator. It allowed me to get my programs together. Doing what I was already doing, just charging more. And it always felt like when I would have to tell people about the price increase, it feels like they're gonna break up with you or something. Like I'd be
Yeah.
like, oh god, just like have so much nerves and like, okay. But it's sort of like whenever you have to deliver news, you know, the more chill you are saying it, like the easier it goes down kind of thing. And so that was just such an edge to start off, but like it really set me up for the right place. And so I think that that's so huge. And I know for me, like I kind of grew up in a middle class background. So my dad was a lawyer, my mom was a nurse. And so I sort of had that like 100K, like that's just kind of like, oh, like
Mhm.
if you're middle class, you make 100K or whatever. So then I had a very like tight 100K ceiling. And it took me so long to figure out, like my husband and I had kind of had a race to like who's gonna make more this year. And we've kind of always been neck and neck. To be fair, I work part-time and he works full-time. So it's me. But when a number value, it's he's made more, less educated, so like the glass ceiling and all the systemic stuff, like it's so real. And so it can be a lot to overcome. And so like I feel like I've always been into mindset and affirmations and manifesting, and that's been such a guiding light for me. And so I think with money it can be so hard because I think you can be good at all those things, but I think money is such a thing. It hits some like scarcity stuff. It's so primal. It's obviously, like you said, an energetic thing. And it gets so like tied up with our worth that it's just one of those things that it can just be so loaded. And so to
Yeah.
really get like your money stuff right, like what do you think was the biggest breakthrough with that?
Yeah. Everything you're saying totally resonating with. So, it's like when you sit down to do your taxes, or you sit down to tell someone your prices, or any situation that creates like a contraction in your body around money, that's your nervous system responding probably to something in the past, right? So your past programming around money, even trauma, a lot of, I mean, because I've done money coaching for so long, like over a decade, I've had the honor and privilege to hear a lot of stories that were extremely painful related to money, not only in this lifetime, but I do past life regression
Mm,
as a hypnotherapist.
mhm,
So I've gone into a lot of my clients' past lives too, and uncovered things that happened in their past life, or even like just in their grandparents' life or something like that, right? And it's affecting them today. Like it's in their DNA. Like it's a pattern that's still lives. And so that was kind of my epiphany, right? When I Because I've had many money courses that I've taught,
mhm,
and the one that I taught over and over was what I learned from my teacher. And it's awesome. It's amazing. The one I originally got certified in, and we were certified in being able to teach her content. But now I've created my own content after taking, I know you're a trauma therapist, so after
mhm,
taking a couple different trauma certifications and somatic certification, I became I mean, I knew of trauma, but I wasn't trauma informed until I, took those trainings and certifications. And then I decided to study it even more. And that's when I realized, okay, all the money mindset courses out there that I've taught or taken, they're great, but they're leaving out this one really critical piece, which is the body. And I love that book, The
mm,
Body Keeps the Score.
mhm,
So the body is keeping the score. And so, like, when you're telling your prices and it's like, it's like a little bit uncomfortable, that's what I do in my programs now with people, is we're starting to like process that stuck emotion so that they can let it go and come into truth around whatever that thing is. So for example, I used to completely sweat my prices. Like I couldn't even get it out of my throat, or I would say it and then I would throw in a bunch of free stuff on top of it that I was going to do for that client,
Over and
essentially
over.
making it so I made the same amount, right?
Yeah.
Because now
Been
I'm
there.
doing more work. We've all like done it at least one time. I mean, I did it a bunch of times, right? Until I learned my lesson. But so when we're really, really, really ready, we can charge appropriately and not over deliver, like charge and deliver, but not have to like overcompensate, which I know leads to burnout and like complete dysregulation when you are trying to prove yourself. You prove that you're worthy of that price by doing more. And I always go above and beyond. So that's just like in my nature. So that was something that I, I still love to go the extra mile for my clients, but
Yeah.
you can feel internally if you're doing something from approving or it's just like I'm really after results all the time. So that's
Yeah.
what a lot of times drives me to like, okay, I'm going to go the extra mile because I'm in it with this client, which feels
Yeah.
different than what if it's not enough? She doesn't like me or I'm
Oh, I
not good
gotta
enough
prove
kind of.
it.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
different energy. And so when we work with the body and start unhooking those patterns, now like when I talk to someone about my prices, it doesn't matter if I'm talking about 75K for the year. Um, I don't feel anything. I don't feel weird about it. Or, I mean, I did before, as I kind of moved up onto different price points. It feels the same as saying, my membership is $222 a month. It feels the same thing.
That's just what it is. Yeah.
And right. And then not to say I have no issues with money or no triggers, because I do. I'm human and it's going
Yeah.
to take me probably a while to uncover all of them. But there's certain things that I've done a lot of work around. And so you literally like that button that gets pushed, you can remove the button and then you don't respond that way anymore. And so then you can just lean back and talk about your prices very calm. You don't have to try to be calm. You just are. Or you can sit down to do, I would say that I have less, or more work to do around things like spending plans. Like I'm always working on that, but those are some of the areas where I can tell I have a little bit more triggers around the scarcity, or no, not scarcity, but around my freedom, right? Like, well, I want to be able to do whatever I want with my money, right?
Your
So
values, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
there's and that's kind of my entrepreneurial, like, well, we'll just make more money.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't have enough to do XYZ. Well, we'll just make more. Right.
But
But
I think
that's,
that's like so empowering,
yeah.
that you can just send
As
out an
long as
email.
you go make more and stick onto your
Yeah.
budget, then you're good.
Totally.
So,
Well, so much of what you said, I'm totally resonating with, and it kind of reminds me of how my Reiki mentor, Sarah, used to talk about. Like, we'd have like PTSD of the soul, and so
mm,
like that witch wound, if you had that kind
yeah,
of like past life
yeah,
experience of being
yep.
silenced or like sort of, you know, like killed for your
Most of
gifts,
them were, being
it stays
silenced where
with
they're
you.
mostly being killed. But yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, and so obviously that, like, translates if that's been a past life experience that people have had, and I do find that it seems like tell me if you think this is true, but I do feel like a lot of healers end up undercharging, and my sort
Oh,
of take on that
that's my
is
whole business. Permission to
yeah,
charge was helping healers and coaches who are undercharging. Like it's a epidemic.
I think we're so, like, other focused, and I mean, I think it even goes back to, like, in past lives we were taken care of by the community and like
Right.
bartered and that kind of thing. And so I think it makes sense. But what I find too is a lot of healers like don't do good self-care. They don't invest in themselves. They don't necessarily do, not that they don't do the inner work, but sometimes they don't have like people holding them as they're doing the work,
Right.
and so I think
Yeah,
that
it's
that's so,
important. That's
so
why I've
important.
spent so much on mentorship. And
Yeah.
there's this kind of cliche in the coaching industry, like, oh, if you want to be this high ticket coach, you got to invest in one. And it's like, I get why people say like that's not necessarily true. However, if you've never had the experience of that kind of up level investing in
Yeah.
yourself, you just may not be able to embody what that is. Because if you value yourself that much
Yeah.
and your gifts, then you're going to be able to help someone else value, like you're going to be able to be a stand for them, and you're going to attract people that invest in themselves to that level as well.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And, I think it's like we'll invest in like, our kids' education or like a nice home or, a continuing education thing. But I think, to invest in like the spiritual work and the like deconditioning and like kind of defragging all these, past experiences or beliefs or whatever, it's just, pays back like an exponential, infinite possibilities, right? So,
Well, and I
um,
even was like, I love like, nice shoes and nice purses. And I think
mhm,
like when I felt that I could have more financial freedom, it's like I buy the Louis Vuitton bag and the fancy
mhm.
shoes, and it's like, and I still do stuff like that, but just it's not like now
Very
I'm
Leo
like,
of you, right?
yeah, I mean, all I care about right now is passive income. So I'm just like, where else can I invest? Right? Like if I get some money or a windfall or I make like extra sales or just anything that's like the more than what I was anticipating, because I already kind of plan for what I'm anticipating and where that's going to go. But anything that's like above and beyond what I've been expecting or planning, then I'm like, okay, what's the ROI I can get on that?
Hmm.
Where can I put that?
Yeah, definitely. And I'm so glad you mentioned like investing because that's something that I've been like newly playing with. And you kind of hit it at the front of the episode, and I meant to comment on it, but it was just I have my daughter's friends, like her little bestie. Their parents are like day traders, and so they like
Yeah.
stay at home with their kids, and
Yep.
they used to flip houses, but like not such a great time to flip houses these days, and so
Yeah.
now
Not
they're
right
just
now.
day traders. And so I was talking to him and I was like, okay, so I've been like a little intimidated. I want to get started. Like, what should I do? And he was like, so the best time to invest is now. Like it's always
Yeah.
now.
Always
So
now. That's
if
true.
you're out there listening, I was really intimidated just to like link my bank account and like what app do I use and like is this,
Yeah.
just like stupid logistical things, not stupid, but
No, not
objective.
stupid at all. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just like, it's intimidating sometimes.
Yeah, but wow, like, I'm like, "Oh my gosh." So instead of, like, going to Target and doing a little retail therapy, it's like, why not buy, like, a Target stock or, like, it doesn't have to be Target, whatever
Exactly. Ooh, I
you're
like
aligned with
that.
there.
See, I
Um,
didn't think about it that literally. Like next time I'm like walking into some store, like, let me go buy their stock instead.
yeah, yeah, and I don't know if this is the same
I
for
love
you, but I
that.
feel like I have definitely been, like, a retail therapy person, like, I definitely
Oh,
would spend it
yeah.
as fast as I could
All
get
the
it,
way.
love
I
shopping,
am.
all the things, a little bit of a bargain hunter, but other than that, but I found in midlife, I don't know if it's just, like, I don't wanna work as much or, like, security or whatever, but I am finding a shift to just, like, I don't want stuff anymore, I want space, and it's like, I
Yeah.
don't want to be able to buy things as much. I mean, I do, but like not as much. I want like the
Well, in
money to like
quality versus
increase and
quantity.
support me rather than like me
Yeah.
supporting the habit,
It is it's like what, I didn't tell you this, but I'm actually getting certified in feng shui.
Ooh,
So that'll just be, an add-on to all the different things that I just can bring to the table. And that's, I love this business because like as I evolve,
yeah,
I've created, I think like 50 digital courses at this point. They're not on my website, but just over the years, the
yeah,
ones that I've sold and things like that. We'll get some of them on the new website because they're not there yet. But I get to just bring different aspects of myself to the courses. But yeah, like your environment and what you have around you affects you so much. And so you want to invest in like quality versus
mhm,
quantity.
absolutely.
And all the thing is, your money should always be making money for you. And, you know, I didn't necessarily grow up this way, more so middle class.
Mhm.
But I mean, my mom was 17 when she had me. So there was once, she married my stepdad, then I would say we were middle class
Yeah.
after that. But so I had a little, little taste of how
Uh,
hard, life can be when your mom is 17. But,
mhm,
being able to make sure that your money is already um, making an ROI, because like people that are wealthy or born into a wealthy family, um, they're learning that their money is supposed to be making, like they're not working for money.
Right,
They don't
right.
work for money, right? Like, I mean, they can
Absolutely.
generate money through their businesses and things like that, but they already from day one, from day zero, have money working on their behalf.
I know, and I think we get sort of sold like with like cribs. I'm dating myself here, but like you know, like sort of this big celebrity culture thing. It seems like they're spending all their money on like cars and mansions and things like that. But like the rich people I know actually are like very cheap and like often don't spend a lot of money. Obviously, in the coaching industry, that can be a little different. Um, but I am actually super obsessed with feng shui. I have been using it for like decades to
Yay.
manifest things. And so like when I was trying to get pregnant, I was like working on my like child and family, put a bunch of games, like had we did like a little ritual to like have our daughter and stuff and put like some things
Oh, okay.
in
Well,
the floor.
we're gonna talk offline more about, like, I'm gonna
Okay.
send you some things. That's
Okay,
awesome.
cool. And like in my
I didn't
current
know
house,
that.
my like wealth and my wealth corner is in the kitchen, which the kitchen is like my problem area just because like it just gets messy like quite a lot. And so I've been really trying to like have a clean kitchen to like call in the money. And then I have another
Yes.
spot where my upstairs bathroom is like in my fame and reputation center, which is not ideal for the bathroom. So I really have to zhuzh up. So like my bathroom is like super over the top, kind of like boho spiritual vibes because like that's
I
what I'm
love
trying to
it. You're
attract
like,
in with
this
like
is where the fame and wealth happens.
yeah, and it's supposed to be fire, so it's like I got like red candles in there and like it looks like if you just walked in it's like, oh, this is her bathroom. It's like a little bit intense, but since it's my fame and reputation center, I have to like deck it out, you know, and kind of
I love
compensate
it.
for it being in the toilet.
Oh my God. Yeah, you don't want your
um,
reputation in the toilet.
I know. So I'm like, toilet seat down, you know,
Yes.
because like that's where the money drains. So I definitely live by that. And I just find like even as like a therapist, you know, we all overspend, we all have too much stuff. I have so many therapy sessions where people are just like, I want to clean out my stuff, but like I have a hard time letting go. And so this did not come naturally to me as someone who's like ADHD and just like a creative and like loves tarot cards and books and crystals and like all the accoutrement of the healers. I definitely have like a metaphysical shop in my home.
Yes.
So it did not come naturally, but like now I'm really just like craving the space, like I'm craving the flow. I've been like obsessed with I'm here on the porch because it's a beautiful day. I've been like redoing the porch. We're putting like fairy lights, like solar fairy lights all over
Yes.
our yard and stuff. So it just like comes alive at night. But I literally, whenever I feng shui something, the money comes in. And that's like such a good
Yep.
incentive to feng shui things. And even I have a physical office at work and I'm constantly like moving the furniture around. Like my clients will come in and they're like, "Oh, you moved it again," and I'm like, "Yep, it's getting stagnant. I had to like switch everything around."
Oh,
So
I love that. I love
feng
it.
shui is super powerful. For so those of you listening, if you don't know what we're talking about, definitely Google it. It's worth kind of like mapping out your house or your room or your office. And I
Well, and
love
I
that it
would
has.
say go to, I don't know if you met Daniela, but Daniela's been a client of mine from
Yeah.
Germany for like 8 years. And so I'm taking
Mhm.
her certification, and it's
Mm.
unfoldingspace.com. And I have
Mm.
recently
Great title.
helped her launch an English version,
Cool.
which is like on an amazing, amazing, amazing price point, because I want to say the one in Germany is probably 6,000 euros to get certified by her. But her
Wow.
English version, which is like kind of founder's rate, it's like not even close to that at all. So it's just an incredible price point for being able to get certified by a world renowned feng
Yeah.
shui expert, and then actually attract clients, because she teaches her clients how to, get clients while they're in the program. And yeah, I have a lot of friends that are just like waiting for me to be done. They're like, okay, come do my house. I'm like, okay, I've got a roster of clients already.
I
um,
know, and I think you, like, need that moral support from someone to, like, kinda like a coach to check you and be like,
yes.
"You don't need that, like, get rid
Oh
of
yeah,
it," you know,
people are
kinda thing.
really interested in feng shui, like super.
Yeah.
And she has done like hotels and castles and
Ooh.
big parcels of land, and people invest tens of thousands of dollars
Oh,
into
yeah.
their feng shui consultations, depending on how the size of the area, right? So
And
it's
I think
amazing.
that's the aesthetics of like luxury. If you go into like a really beautiful hotel or like a Louis Vuitton store, like, you know, like you feel the space, you feel the luxury, you feel like the intentionality of the placement and kind of the flow.
Yeah.
So I think that totally fits in with what we were talking about with like embodied money.
Yeah.
And
Well, yeah, exactly.
yeah, and I think your environment is such a like, it's kind of like your bubble. It's like your extension of you. So like if your
Hmm.
environment's cluttered, you're gonna feel cluttered. If it's expansive and beautiful and rich and luxurious, like you're gonna feel, you know,
It's so true.
luxurious vibes.
It's an
So,
easy way to shift your own energy, right? Like by
oh,
tapping
totally.
into like the chi and being in that flow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I really liked what you said earlier about just like there's the belief system mindset piece. Oops. Sorry, my cat's trying to
Oh.
get on screen here. um, there's, you know, there's like the belief system, but then I think when people, and I've been here like where you're doing mindset all day long and you're like, where are my results? But it's like you really do have to bring it into the body and to the, well, maybe the energetics first and then the body, you know, but like that holistic sort of framework of it. You know, I literally had a client today was like, oh yeah, I tried to do that affirmation, but it made me feel like a lie. You know, it felt like such a lie. And I'm like,
Well,
yeah,
until you unhook from the actual pattern that's
yeah.
literally in your body,
Mm-hmm.
you're always going to react to that stimuli in the same in the same way, right? And so like
Yeah,
trauma, your body thinks that you're still in that situation.
yeah,
I had
absolutely.
something happen the other day that reminded me of something that had happened a long time ago, and I was like, it really surprised me how upset that I got about something very benign.
Mm-hmm.
And so I looked real crazy. But I remembered that situation and how it upset me and bothered me and how I felt in that moment. And it was like similar enough where it brought up the whole thing, and it made me cry. It was like, and I was like, this is a very perfect example of trauma. And it's not like, I mean, I've thought about it, but it's not even like the worst thing that's ever happened to me in my life by far.
Yeah,
But the way I felt
parallel.
was just very poignant for me. And so feeling that again, or something that brought that up, it's like, oh, now I know that still lives inside of me. And I realize, oh, I didn't like process and digest that. And so
Mhm,
one of the things I do with the money work is embodied processing, which is a certification actually. And so being able to process your emotions around money, all the programming that we receive. For example, some of my clients, they'll say, well, my mom was a hoarder. So I learned
mhm,
I would spend everything and buy everything that I wanted, or because I learned that, or they would be like, I never buy anything. Like
right,
I
it's
don't
one
even
or the
let
other,
myself have
extreme.
things, right?
Mhm,
So, or there was a lot of shame around money, or I was told that it was bad to have a lot of money. Those are bad people. So
mhm, oh,
when
yeah,
you hit a certain income level, you've got all these defense mechanisms that are in your subconscious mind that are gonna stop you. Like let's say 100K is someone's income glass ceiling.
mhm,
They're gonna keep getting close to it, maybe go a little over, a little under. They're gonna be close, 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 but maybe their goal is to double that. And it's not gonna happen until those things get unhooked. Otherwise, you have too many subconscious mechanisms that are going to come up, and they'll always, this is a funny thing, they'll always be like kind of sneaky. It's like, well, oh, that year I almost did, this much, like reach the goal, but then, someone in your family passed away and
yeah,
that took all of your attention, or you got sick or something. And it's like, it's almost like on some level like we're drawing in the circumstances, um or using those circumstances as the reason
mhm,
why we didn't break through. And it's really not our fault. I mean, it's just the programming we received, and we just haven't known how to go in and start releasing that.
mhm,
And then once you do, it changes your ability, like how much you can earn, how much you can save. Like when I bought this house and the other one, I cannot tell you how, like, I don't even know how to describe it. I had such a block when
Mhm.
I found out that I was even able to buy not one but two houses. I didn't even know that's what I always tell my friends or anyone that comes that hasn't maybe doesn't own a home right now but wants to. I'm like, go and speak to a mortgage broker. Go figure
Yeah.
out your credit score. Get your numbers, because I knew some of my numbers, but I hadn't talked to a mortgage. I mean, I knew my credit score and stuff, but I didn't even know. I didn't know what the bank was willing to loan me. I didn't know that had a pretty good. I mean, you would think that knowing I had a good credit score and a good income and this and that, but I had never been in that situation before. I
Yeah.
remember trying to get a loan a long time before that, and I was so far from what I needed to be making to get a loan at that time that I developed this kind of a negative thought about myself. Oh, I can't. And I remember things that were said to me, not about me, but about the area that I live in. Oh, it's unaffordable to live here anymore, which is true for a lot of people, most people where I live. But most people in the world, right? It's very expensive to live in Seattle or suburb of Seattle, but I had such a my belief system was so bad that I didn't even know that I was capable, right? And so like even trying to get this house, it was just like it was such a mental block, and that was like kind of around the time when I started bringing in the embodied money or the somatic work into the money work. And it's like, okay, money mindset is good, but we have to
You gotta feel safe.
we have to feel safe. And if your nervous system doesn't feel safe with money, you're not going to either earn the amount you want or be able to save the amount or be able. I couldn't save for a long time, many years. I tried and failed at saving,
Yeah.
like more than a decade. So, it all can change. And I'm so glad that there's so much more of the work like what you do that's coming out into the world and the mainstream, so that we can, especially for women, if we as women can handle our stuff with money. And I'm again saying that to myself too, because as much as I've worked on my relationship with money, I still have lots of opportunity to grow. And I just go, let's get it together even more, right? Because we can buy land. I've got a client that has got
Mhm.
63 acres of
Land.
sanctuary land. Yeah. I've got another
Yes.
client that just got a retreat house, because when they're generating more money, they're buying buildings, they're buying land, they're buying retreat centers, they're buying they're creating cosmetic companies that are not toxic.
Yes, please.
Yeah, they're buying solar panels for their house, or all the things that could be really good things that could make the world healthier or cleaner or safer. They're investing in teaching. I know a woman that teaches financial literacy in schools, which is great, right? And so when women have their relationship with money right, and health right, meaning healthy, aligned,
Yeah.
being in right relationship with money, like the intimacy with money is intimacy with yourself, right? So it's just a mirror of
Oh, I
how
love that.
honest we are. And also, when I'm saying honest, I'm meaning like there's the truth, the highest truth, and then there's shadows,
Mhm.
untruths, right? And so
Yeah.
that you know repeat audio that I had that was like, you can't do it, it's too much money, like that wasn't even mine.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, and after sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
no, that was it. I know we
Um,
have to wrap up too, so
yeah, well, one thing I was gonna say is just an affirmation that's been serving me really well is, that I care more about my frequency than facts, and I think some of us
ooh.
that yeah, it's a little edgy there. I think a lot of times, we're programmed, and obviously, if you're more like an intellectual, like I would always tell people, like, would you be rather be right or happy? Like, hopefully, those two things go
Yeah.
together, but sometimes it's like a one or the other. And I think sometimes with our blocks, we can get so invested in like, I'm right, I believe in this fact. No, we want to like focus on our frequency. And for me, that's what pleasure psychology has been about, is just like,
Mm,
can I care the most about my frequency? Can I care the most what I think about myself, and really like turn inwards, not in a narcissistic way, but just in a self prioritization, and sort of like, instead of caring so much about what other things or externals, like how can I pull my power back in and just like really get right in here. And so the frequency
mm.
thing has really helped me. And it just makes me think of my dear friend who was going through a divorce, and we were literally like at the beach at her divorce party. She had manifested this like great little cottage that she was living in. She literally got the call that they were selling the house, and we were like, oh my God, let's manifest it. Like literally we're at the beach. We've got all these like witchy women around. Like, let's make this happen for you. And she's like, oh, like I'm self-employed. Like, and so I'm probably not gonna, I got my friend, my other mom friend who was like a mortgage originator. My friend's already a great manifester. We took all of the like divorce party vibes
Wow.
and literally manifested this house for her. And it was like such a great little place for her and her son to land. They've been able it out amongst their family as far as like being able to make it work. And so I think, just to our original point with, we need more money in the hands of women, it's like so that we can buy houses if we need to get divorced, or so that we can like invest in all those beautiful ways that you were just saying. And so I think a lot of times what's holding people back is facts, and like there are always, harsh realities and like facts that we have to overcome. But I think when you really focus on like, your own destiny and your own pleasure, and like
Mhm.
really kind of believing it even if it seems impossible,
Yeah,
I do find a way that the universe delivers. So anyway, so lovely catching
I
up
love
with
it.
you. I just wanted to give that a little case in point because that was just such a magical moment.
Yes, I love that story.
Yeah, and just like, gosh, I've had that with being self-employed. Sometimes that really is a ding if you're trying to get like a big loan or
True.
something like that.
Absolutely.
So it's so great to have liquid cash. It's so great to have investments. It's so great to
It
like,
felt so good to just hear like, oh, you can buy well over $1 million in property. And I was like, okay, right?
yes,
Like, it's just it's like when you've worked so long and hard and
yeah,
like
have.
and finally like realize something. And then also just know that like I love giving my clients shortcuts. Like just because something took me so long, it takes my
Yeah.
clients like so much faster because I, it took the long route and I learned like how to get to the root cause of some of these things. And I think that's, failure is so valuable. It's why I know so much and it's why I can help so much.
Great,
you
great
know,
reframe. For
I mean, what
sure.
I called failure was I really believe in failing forward.
It
And
was
so
so
I've
good.
always been failing forward and making mistakes along the way and having setbacks and then learning. And that just makes me a great coach. That's what I
I
tell myself.
know.
Like
It's so
now I can help even more people because I understand the whole like gamut of the problem.
yeah, one thing that's really served me is that saying, like, it's not rejection, it's protection. And so even when it's like a
Ooh,
failure, redirect in some kind of way. So I'm like,
yes.
okay, sometimes it takes us a while to figure out, like, well, okay, I guess they want me to go in this direction, but
Yeah,
it's one of those things.
absolutely.
You're so inspiring. Thank you so much for like sharing your story about like coming up a single mom young, and then like just, I think sometimes, when you hear like, oh, I just bought $1 million property, it can feel kind of like, oh, well, I'll never get there. But I think I want to encourage everybody listening to like, you can get there. It is possible. You just really have to like the mindset, the energetics, the body, really like your whole body, like your whole self has to kind of really get on board with it to really manifest it and align with it. And so I think you're such a beautiful living example of that. And
Thank
so
you.
thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Yes,
Now,
thanks for having
tell
me.
us, you've got Embodied Money coming up. So tell us all about
Yes.
that and where to find you and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I would love to. So you can go to embodiedmoney.com, and that is my 7 week experience right now. So the investment is $12.97, but you can enroll for $197. So it is the perfect time to dive into that. And it's different than any other money course. I really feel like it's an initiation. So everything and that's what I was going to tell you is Dr. Megan Monday is the one who said to me one day, your programs will initiate you. Like you said that to me. I wrote it down and I've said it to so many clients. And I just want, I always give you credit. I'm like, Megan
Well,
Monday said this to me.
I probably did not originate that one. So I think I maybe
Well,
heard that from like I can't even remember at this point. Maybe Julia, maybe somebody else. But
Well,
I'll
hey,
take
I
I'll
learned
take
it from you. So I learned from my clients, my friends, like I learned from everybody every day.
boy, that's
So
so freaking true
I
though.
just
It brings up
remember
all
that
your
you said that, and I always like, she said that to me, and it stuck. It's like something I would say, right? And like, I'm so in alignment with it. So, yeah, I feel like this program, it's, this is my third annual year, and it's really cool because people do it every year. And so we have people on their third year, and it's kind of like an annual money detox, but also like an upgrade, because there's no drive through enlightenment. And I think that's why people take it every year, because like, okay, we're gonna like do some deeper work on releasing some of these I think of them as like patterns that are hooked in. We're going to start to unhook some of these patterns, and we're doing the somatic practices and the embodiment practices to release, so that like maybe you want to raise your prices and you're going to focus on that during this 7 weeks. Or maybe you feel like you're charging well, but it's like you're not investing or saving, or maybe you feel like you're out of control with your spending, whatever it may be. And we're going to go and do past life regression. We're going to do the embodiment work, like I said, somatic work, and start releasing things. And then we also have like very practical, like I have training on
you're a great
spending
mix of
plans
both.
and sinking
Yeah.
funds, and like like investing, and very practical action steps. And we start with we have like 9 money clutter clearing steps. So there's like you said earlier, um, you and I are very similar. It's like we have this masculine side and feminine that's both
Mhm.
very strong. And so like I love a good spreadsheet, but I'm also like, but I listen to my
I don't like it that
intuition.
much, but
Yeah,
yeah.
like I like so I think that's like a lot of people work with me because they're like, you do the spiritual part, but you're also like going to help me with my copywriting and my messaging. And and so as a business coach, I'm like kind of bringing, and I think that's what a priestess does, right? She brings
Mhm.
the spiritual world into
Perfect.
the material. And so that's why I call
Yeah.
myself like a business priestess, is like you're bringing it all together. So even in this money experience, embodied money experience, you're going to spend 7 weeks getting your body to feel safe with money, right? And so by the end of it, you're going to have that completely different like identity with money, one that's more in alignment with the truth, like the spiritual truth of who we are, which is we're so abundant, and we
Yes.
have access to all of the abundance in the world. And when you're living in that truth, it's like you can like feel grounded in your body to know what you're ready to charge and what feels really good and what feels really solid. And then when you receive that money, it doesn't feel like it's slipping through your fingers and like, where did it go? And so it's different than affirmations, which I think affirmations are very valuable and very important, but it's just like it's a piece of an equation. And so I feel like this is the other piece of the equation that's been missing. So yeah, right now the price is going to double, or I like to call it an investment because it's definitely an investment. um, it's going to double on March 31st. So I don't know when this will air, but if someone reaches out to me because they heard it and they say, Megan, Monday, I heard it, then I can probably honor the 197, but you're gonna have to
What a
mention
steal.
Megan. Yeah. Um, and so yeah, it's embodiedmoney.com. And there's one more thing. Oh, I know. I read, you're gonna like this. The American Psychological Association, I just read this yesterday, said that if you have if you what was it? You are 76% more likely to reach any goal that you're trying to reach if you track your progress. So
Mm.
in this program, there like I love a good tracking
Oh
sheet.
yeah, like the lead contact sheet. I'm getting
Oh yeah,
flashbacks.
okay, you remember. Yeah, it's like skills. Track how many new leads you have. Track your
Yeah.
spending. And I'm not going to make people single thing, but just even getting started with,
You're absolutely
tracking
right
certain
though.
things. So there's a very practical side to the program. I mean, a lot of what we're doing is embodiment and movement, and there's like tears and crying, you know, but there's that, but it's like the good tears. It's like the tears of release where you're like, oh, I've
Yeah.
let go of this weight, you know, but then there's that very practical side. And so, yeah, that's something that I thought, now that is fascinating, because during 2020, when I made what seemed like this quantum leap, I was like, how do I have 100 grand in my bank account? Like like, whoa, you know, like never did that before. Cause I couldn't accumulate it before. I could make
Mhm.
it, but I could not accumulate it. And so, um, it
Well,
was
just
cause I was
just
tracking.
oh, interesting. Okay, maybe you're like changing my mind on tracking. I mean, you're absolutely right. It's just I think you think you know, but until you really see it like in black and white, it's one of those things. But
I tracked my net worth for 5 years. Every single month it was negative.
wow, okay. And look at
So,
where
I
you
mean,
are
I've
now.
been tracking. I've been an on and off again. I'll say that just because I'm not like perfect with it.
Yeah.
But for a long time, I've been doing money tracking. I mean, since I took that course in 2013 and got certified. Now, have I fallen off the wagon and got back on? Yes. But when I made that leap, that is one of the biggest things I was doing. And the thing is, how can you embody when you're not in reality
Hmm.
about the present situation? You got to be present, right? And if you're not
Right.
in reality of the present
Yeah.
financial
Otherwise, we're
situation,
in denial, right? So,
right? So when you track, it brings up a lot of shit, like a lot.
oh, I bet.
I
I mean,
know you know.
I'll calm myself down a little bit because I remember as we're talking about the lead sheet, I was like, but I don't have any leads. And like now thinking about that, like 5 years later, it's sort of like, oh my God, like how far I've come in like, like the world is your lead,
Well,
sort
do
of.
you remember what I said? You remember what
Um,
I said? When you
not exactly, but you were probably like, you already have a bunch of people in your sphere, like go talk to them.
Well, I would definitely say that, but the tracking piece of it, whether it's money or tracking leads or sales, what I would say to someone is say, like if you said, well, I'm not tracking my sales every week because I haven't been having sales,
Mhm.
then I would say, if you want to have sales every single week, you need to be
Track
tracking.
it.
So
Okay. I'm
if
gonna
a
take that as
week
a
goes by
challenge.
and you don't have any sales, you have to write zero. And when you write zero, what does that
Oh.
do? That makes you go,
Oh.
okay, well, what could I do today?
Do
What kind
it.
of content could I create today? What email could I create today? So that reminds me, when inside the program, there's a bonus program that's totally free, and it's called Sell Daily. And it's all about making daily sales in your business. And I walk through the things I do every pretty much freaking day of my life to make sure that because at this very moment in time, I'm running Facebook ads. But prior to that, in the last 4 years, 5 years, I have not really run any paid advertising. I mean, very, 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 very little. And I mean, nothing to note. So I do everything organic, right? And so that does require me, if you're not doing paid advertising and
You
you're
gotta be.
relying on organic, it requires you to create content. I mean, it's a daily activities that you got to do. So that I put that into the program too, because all my clients are entrepreneurs, to say like, look, it's not just you're feeling safe about money, you're not feeling safe about selling either. Sales feels really
Yes.
icky. And so it
Yeah.
all ties together. So anyway, that's my spiel about the program. But if anyone just feels called to do it, I would just do it, because
Do
someone
it.
told me today, thank you for making it affordable. And I'm like, I'm
Yes.
so glad that she said that, because I'm like, yeah, that is exactly. I mean, there's not a lot of 7-week courses out there that are this high level that are going to be 197, where it's like a live course.
And
So, but I
you
just
really
want
do.
everyone to change their relationship with money. Like all the
Yes.
women, we're going to just upgrade.
I mean, I think that's how we get to world peace, so that totally makes sense, and just for all of y'all considering buying, like, I definitely felt like I got the most out of my investment because there was just so much, like, learning and contact and resources and so many things, and I can't say that about every coach that I've worked
Well,
with,
and
so
you were in a program that I believe was 7,000 for 10 weeks.
yeah.
This
Yeah.
is a 7-week program that's $197. So
Oh,
it's not the
look how
same.
good
It's
you
not the
are
same
at
program.
sales.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we
Yeah,
delivered a whole lot more in that
right.
program, and it was
But
different,
no,
and it was
I
like
know
a
all
lot of
your programs.
one-on-one touch. But Yeah,
I
but
know all
just to
Instagrams
put the
are like that.
perspective.
Because you give them the experience, and I think that that's such a gift to give them the knowledge, because knowledge is power, but then also to give them like the transformation. And I think like people tend to do one or the other well, but not necessarily both. And so I think that's really such a huge strength. And then let's face it, like you and I both have daughters about the same age. Like you
Yes.
want them to, not have to neglect their families because they have to work or worry about money or not be able to buy a house or
I couldn't even take I never took a maternity leave. Like
yeah, I
6
had 3
days
weeks.
later, I
I
was
was
sitting on one
scared.
of those donut things, and I was on a call. I
Yeah,
mean,
I agreed. I was, like, about 3 weeks in, and then we were worried
I
about
don't
the
want that
money.
for her, and I was always the breadwinner in my marriage when I was, married, so I had, 2 businesses. So I
Mhm.
was back at my desk, and
And you even
I
traveled,
don't
you
know
were
what it would be
pregnant,
like to have a
right?
maternity leave. I have no
You, like,
idea what
traveled
that's
the
like.
world. You were, like, doing like, you were on the go pregnant the 2nd time, right?
You're right. Yeah, I was
Mhm.
after I had my daughter, I was traveling every quarter to different countries for my coaching business like that. When I
Wild.
was pregnant and when she was born is actually when it like took
Took off.
off. So,
Yeah,
but
but her lot energy helped with that.
yeah, I mean that's like a whole other we'll do another podcast
Yeah,
on
yeah.
that, but
Yeah,
I agree with you. Like we want women to whether you have a partner and you're provided for in that way or like you join, you like you share finances with your partner or not, it's freedom, it's options. Money gives us options and
yes.
money gives us a type of it's not maybe there's different types of power, but in this world
Definitely
money
power.
gives you the power to do a lot. And so I think yeah, more if we can have more women that are conscious and want to make things better that have access to money and knowledge around how to create value and money and maybe we can shift things
Yeah,
as to
absolutely.
what the world's priorities
Yeah,
can
and it
be.
needs a shift for sure. Well, obviously we could talk about this for hours.
Yes.
Like I love spending
Thank
time with
you.
you, and it just such deep, rich topics that like we could just go on and on for sure. But you have to buy, so buy your course so you can get more of it.
Thank you.
Obviously, like and subscribe here on my YouTube channel for the Divine Feminine Revolution podcast. So again, thank you so much for being a incredible woman in the world, just like lighting the way for other women. And I love seeing
Thank
that.
you.
So, and thank you
You
all for
as well.
watching. Let me know what your favorite money takeaway was down below, and let's maybe get a list going for people. They're just so rich in this episode. So, and then hopefully, you know, not even hopefully, right? Like we're calling it in the dollar size
Yes, we're calling it in.
for every woman who wants it. All
Yes.
right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Bye. Okay, we're off.
Yay.
Oh,
Okay,
sorry.
well
I
we
know
would
we went way over, but again,
I
I
know.
think
I
this
mean, I
this
had the time. I
conversation
just